Chapter 2, Thorns and Petals. The rusted iron wheels of the wheelbarrow groaned in protest as I wrestled it forward, another agonizing inch conquered in the battle against gravity and inertia. Sweat, thick and salty, trickled down my temple, tracing a path along the sensitive skin of my spine and soaking the fabric of my tank top. The humid air, heavy with a rich, earthy scent of compost, a pungent blend of decaying leaves, coffee grounds, and discarded citrus peels, usually soothed my restless spirit. But today, even the familiar embrace of the Bellbridge Botanical Gardens, my newfound sanctuary, couldn't quite quell the frustration simmering beneath my skin. The massive steel frame for my senior art installation, a skeletal behemoth destined to become a towering sculpture, lay disassembled in the humid, glass-walled corner of the greenhouse. It mocked me with its unfulfilled potential, its cold, unyielding metal a stark contrast to the vibrant life teeming around it. I'd envisioned a swirling vortex of reclaimed metal and weathered wood, a visual echo of nature's chaotic beauty, its relentless cycle of death and rebirth. But translating that vision from the swirling canvas of my mind into the physical world was proving far more challenging than I'd anticipated. The metal felt alien and uncooperative, resisting my every attempt to bend it to my will. "Having a moment, Daph?" A voice, laced with affectionate amusement, cut through the dense air. I looked up, shielding my eyes with a dirt-smudged hand, the gesture leaving a streak of dark soil across my forehead. Riv, my best friend, confidant and fellow artistic soul, leaned against the open doorway of the greenhouse, a vibrant splash of color against the muted greens and browns of the foliage. Her electric blue hair, shaved close on one side and cascading in a riotous wave down the other, was a testament to her fearless individuality, a quality I both admired and envied. Riv's multiple piercings, a silver hoop through her eyebrow, a delicate chain connecting her nostril to her ear, a glinting stud in her lip, caught the sunlight filtering through the glass panes, creating tiny, ephemeral rainbows. "Just contemplating the sheer, unadulterated stubbornness of inanimate objects," I grumbled, giving the wheelbarrow another frustrated shove. The rusty wheels shrieked in response. "This thing weighs a ton. I swear it's gaining weight just to spite me." Riv pushed off the doorframe with a graceful, almost feline movement and came to my side, her Doc Martens crunching on the gravel path. "Need a hand, Atlas? You look like you're about to herniate something." "Nah, I've got it. Almost there," I grunted, my voice strained with effort. With a final Herculean push, I maneuvered the wheelbarrow to its designated composting area, a fragrant mound near the back of the gardens, hidden behind a screen of towering sunflowers. I straightened up, stretching my aching back with a satisfying pop, and wiped my brow with the back of my hand, smearing more dirt across my skin. Riv studied me with knowing, empathetic eyes, the color of warm honey. We'd shared countless hours in dimly lit art studios, surrounded by the scent of turpentine and clay, sharing frustrations, inspirations, and the occasional, inevitable existential crisis that came with the territory of being a young artist. Riv saw through me too easily, past the carefully constructed facade of competence. "It's not just the wheelbarrow, is it?" she asked softly, her voice a low, comforting murmur. "The sculpture's giving you grief, huh?" I sighed, the sound a release of pent-up frustration. I'm stuck. I can see it in my head, perfectly formed, this swirling dynamic thing, but I can't seem to make it real. The metal's fighting me. It feels lifeless." Riv nodded, understanding. "You'll get there, you always do. You've got that stubborn streak. You just need to unclench, literally and metaphorically." I laughed, a short, self-deprecating sound that echoed in the humid air. "Easy for you to say, Ms. Effortless Cool. You just exude creativity. It flows out of you." Riv grinned, flashing a silver tongue stud, a quick, playful gesture. "It's a gift and a curse. My brain never shuts up. But seriously, Daph, speaking of unclenching, you need a break, a serious one. Your mom's making her famous ridiculously potent lemonade. Come on." I hesitated, glancing back at the skeletal remains of my sculpture, a pang of guilt twisting in my gut. The thought of escaping the stifling heat of the greenhouse and my artistic block was undeniably tempting, but I felt a nagging sense of responsibility, a self-imposed pressure to create. I need to figure out this darn connection point. "You should really take a breath, stop beating yourself up and get some vitamin C," Riv interrupted, gently but firmly tugging on my arm, her touch surprisingly strong. "The sculpture will still be there tomorrow, mocking you with its incompleteness. Come on, before your mom sends out a search party or worse, starts reciting botanical Latin names at us." I allowed myself to be pulled along, surrendering to Riv's gentle persistence. My mother, Dean Patricia Evans, was indeed a force of nature, a formidable combination of academic brilliance and earthy warmth. A renowned botanist and a fiercely independent single mother, she'd raised me with a deep appreciation for the natural world, a love of learning, and a healthy dose of skepticism towards societal expectations. Our home, a cozy, slightly ramshackle cottage nestled on the edge of campus, overflowing with books and plants, was a haven, a refuge from the pressures of the outside world, filled with sunlight, the scent of growing things, and the constant comforting aroma of freshly baked bread and simmering herbs. As we approached the cottage, the sounds of my mother humming a familiar, lilting folk tune and the tearful clinking of glasses drifted through the open windows, a siren song of domesticity. The scent of lemon and mint, sharp and sweet, wafted on the warm breeze, a promise of cool refreshment and a temporary escape from my creative struggles. Dean Evans greeted us at the door, her strong, capable arms enveloping me in a hug that smelled of sunshine and chamomile. "There's my girl. You look like you've been wrestling a particularly tenacious rhododendron." She held me at arm's length, her keen, perceptive eyes, the same striking shade of amber as my own, taking in my flushed face, dirt-streaked clothes, and the faint lines of frustration etched around my mouth. "Just a wheelbarrow," I said, offering a weary smile, but it felt like a whole damn jungle. "Well, you sit yourself down and cool off," she said, ushering us into the cool, dim interior of the kitchen. "Riv, you too, darling. I made enough lemonade for the entire botany department, and I spiked it with a little something extra. For medicinal purposes, of course." She winked, a mischievous glint in her eyes. The kitchen was a warm, inviting, slightly chaotic space, filled with the comforting clutter of a well-lived, well-loved life. Overflowing bookshelves crammed with botanical texts and well-worn novels, plants hanging from every available surface, trailing vines and cascading blooms, and colorful, hand-thrown pottery bowls overflowing with fruit, ripe peaches, plump blueberries, and glistening strawberries. A half-finished, exquisitely detailed sketch of a rare, luminous orchid lay on the worn wooden kitchen table, a testament to Dean Evans's own considerable artistic talent, a talent she'd largely kept hidden, a private passion. As we sat at the table, sipping the cool, tart lemonade, the subtle kick of something stronger tingling on my tongue, I felt some of the tension, the tight knot in my shoulders, begin to ease. My mother's presence was a grounding force, a reminder of the strength, resilience, and quiet, unwavering love that ran in our blood, a deep, unshakable connection. "So," my mother asked, her eyes twinkling with a mixture of curiosity and concern, "how's the magnum opus coming along?" I hesitated, glancing at Riv, who offered a subtle, encouraging nod. "It's a work in progress, a very challenging work in progress." Dean Evans raised a perfectly sculpted eyebrow but didn't push, didn't pry. She knew better than to intrude when I was in the throes of a creative struggle. She understood the delicate dance between inspiration and frustration. "Well, just remember, darling," she said softly, her voice warm and reassuring, "sometimes the best inspiration comes when you're not looking for it, when you're least expecting it. Take a break, let your mind wander, go for a walk, stare at the clouds, talk to the trees. The answers will come, they always do." I nodded, knowing she was right, as she usually was. I needed to step away, to disconnect from the immediate pressure, to clear my head, to allow space for new ideas, new perspectives to blossom, to take root. The image of the blue-eyed Greek god at the Phi Delta Gamma fraternity house, however, still lingered in my mind, a distracting flicker of intense eyes and sun-bronzed skin. I pushed the thought away, annoyed at my own susceptibility. He was just a distraction, a weed in the carefully cultivated garden of my mind. I needed to focus on my art, on my future, on anything but him.